Unlocking levels, unlocking levels, unlocking levels. Hosted by Seal the Source. Tap in.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy CL the Source back with another episode of Unlocking Levels. Thank you once again for tuning in. I appreciate y'all tapping back in with your boy. Hope y'all doing well. And in today's episode, I'm gonna get right into it. Today I'm gonna be talking about why I practice self-mastery. And for better context, I think I've kind of provided some insight into why I've chosen to move in this direction, why I choose to challenge myself to be better in every aspect of my life. Throughout several episodes of either Blessed Beyond Measure podcast or Unlocking Levels, really, I'm going to kind of touch on it here and there, give you a little bit of insight into my background, my history of who I used to be, who I was when I was younger, the things I used to do, the kind of lack of direction that I had, the poor choices I was making and everything like that. And, if you knew me back then, this version of myself that you see before you or you're hearing on the other end of your speakers is a completely different person, to be quite honest with you. And I'm almost unrecognizable to myself in a lot of ways, because the things that I do now are definitely different from what I used to do. And the things I believe now are so much more different than I used to believe. I still have a lot of same tendencies, same qualities, same character in terms of, the moral compass that I have and everything like that. And certain principles that I believed in that have, forever been ingrained in me that I think will be a part of me for a long time. Family, treating others with kindness and respect, integrity, doing things the right way, right? But as far as certain behaviors that I used to do, the way I used to deal with anger, the way I used to be emotional. I still am emotional from time to time, but nowadays I feel like I have a much better grip on it. And I think that's attributed to my practice of personal development and growth and evolution and self-mastery. Yeah, I definitely would point to that as the reason why I've gotten a better grasp of that. And when I was younger, some of the decisions I would make would be to turn to drugs and alcohol, or doing things that would provide some sort of temporary solution, temporary fix to make whatever I was going through feel better in the moment. But now, as I've gotten more mature in my years of living, I've learned to kind of find other outlets, different outlets that have helped me develop ways of coping with things, understanding things, and choosing proper responses to certain situations or people in my life, whatever the case may be. I just try to approach things with a much more poised, level-headedness that I didn't always have. You know what I'm saying? If you would have known me, I was a bit of a live wire. I didn't really have full control over my life as I feel like I do right now. I still make mistakes for sure. That's always going to be a part of the journey. But I see things so much more differently than I used to, and I gotta compliment myself for that, because the path that I was going on earlier on in my life was very much the path of self-destruction. And I had a lot of good times too, so I don't want to sit here and just say that everything was all bad, but it definitely wasn't healthy for me, and the direction I was moving in, I can confidently say I was not heading in the right direction. And if I would have continued going down that road, I don't know how much longer I would have been here. But nowadays, the reason why I practice personal development is because at a certain point, you get to, at least most of us, get to a point where you just kind of get sick and tired of your own shit. You know what I'm saying? Where you have goals for yourself, you set out goals, you know what you're capable of, you're confident in yourself. And I'm speaking about myself in terms of what I feel about myself, what I know I can bring to the table, certain qualities about myself that I'm proud of, that I believe in myself in. And there comes a certain point where your goals just become, in order for it to become real, you're going to have to be real with yourself and start to really filter out some of the things that are no longer helping you in your life, or in some cases maybe holding you back. For me, that's drugs and alcohol for sure. That was one of my biggest vices for so long. I had a lot of great times, as I've mentioned several times throughout the whole history of this podcast. I'm very transparent with y'all about my past life and how I used to kind of do things and the perspective I had. And this episode is just going to further shine light on that. I used to be like super hard-headed, super big-headed in a sense too, thinking that I knew it all when I was a youngster. I was rebellious. I didn't want to listen to my pops. I didn't want to listen to my grandma. I didn't want to listen to nobody, because I always thought I knew everything, and I was just gonna, be that guy that just, went my own way and everything like that. But life has taught me countless actually, hard lessons where I had to fall on my ass multiple times and pick myself up. And a lot of times the lesson that life was trying to teach me is the same lesson over and over and over again. And every time I fall on my ass, it's a little bit worse than the last time. But due to my stubbornness, my hard-headedness, I wouldn't pay attention to what life was trying to teach me. I would continue persisting and wanting to have my way. And that's the type of persistence right there that could be detrimental to your whole experience and existence of life. And for me, that was the case. I mean, I got DUIs before. I've been in fights, almost went to jail several times. I've been shot at, I've gotten behind the wheel drunk, inebriated, intoxicated, off of all sorts of stuff. I put myself in situations where I could have really done a lot of damage, not only to myself, but to people around me. And we put ourselves in positions that weren't the safest, you know what I'm saying? And just moving very, very unwise, you know what I'm saying? Just making poor choices. And I'm lucky to be here. I've been through a lot of my life in terms of not only what I just expressed to you, but also, having gone through cancer and everything like that. Life was constantly trying to, I think, get me to value myself and to understand what types of God-given gifts I've been given. And I just never quite paid attention to them. You know what I'm saying? Now, in my riper age that I'm currently at right now, I feel like I do understand a whole lot more. I try to pay attention. I try to tune into my intuition and really try to listen to what's going on. Like what is life, what direction life is trying to move me in. And I think at a certain point, man, I just got, up until pretty recently, actually, it had to be in my early 30s or mid 30s was when I, first started realizing, like, dude, you can't continue to go this direction. It's not sustainable. All the goals that you have set for yourself, all the things that you believe that you can achieve with your life, they're not going to come to fruition unless you change something within yourself. And for me, I think one of the biggest turning points that I always refer back to in a lot of conversations that I have, I'm not quite sure if I ever explained it on this podcast before, but one of my really, really good friends, somebody I consider a brother to me, a mentor to me, somebody that's family to me. That if this dude ever called me and he needed me for something, I'm picking up the phone. That's my brother. My boy Renan Molina, shout out Renan Molina. That's my brother. The turning point for me, well, not necessarily a turning point, but like a very pivotal point in my life was when I took a leadership role for a project that we led out in LA. I was paired with Renan, who I've known for several years before, but we didn't know each other the way that we got to know each other. And the way we got to know each other is by, spearheading that project in LA, where we had to run operations for a large hospital, and we had a team of at least 50 to 60 different employees working under us, and we were the leaders of the project. And needless to say, we encountered a ton of challenges and adversity and personalities and situations where you had to be quick on your feet, but also find long-term solutions for. And this was my first real position where I was thrust into a leadership role. Up until then, I never really wanted a leadership role because I just kind of wanted to mess around, to be quite honest with you. I just wanted to kind of coast through work, do my thing, even though people seen it in me. They would want me to, step up to the plate and take on leadership roles and things of that nature. But I was comfortable where I was at, I'm not gonna lie, making X amount of money and blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't really want the responsibility. For so long, I pushed it away, and, for whatever reason, and I have reasons why I ultimately decided to finally pursue this type of position. And man, challenging to say the least is what we went through, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to my brother Renan, because I learned so much under his tutelage, under his guidance and his leadership, because he was really the 1A and I was more like the 1B, you know what I'm saying? Like I was an extension of him. I was his assistant manager and he was the manager, where he oversaw everything and I was second in line to that. And there were a lot of responsibilities that were put on our plates. I was figuring out a lot of things on my own. Again, having not kind of been in a position like that before, it was also foreign to me. It was also new to me. But I can recall specific instances where I was really met with a lot of these really difficult situations and challenges, and I didn't always react the best. I didn't always make the best choices, and actually a lot of times I reacted emotionally. And I remember specifically a situation where Renan had to calm me down, when I just, things were going all sorts of crazy, and at least in my eyes, and I just lost my cool. And, you can tell I was triggered emotionally, and I was saying stuff. And then, when the dust kind of settled for that situation, Renan Renan basically called me out like I've never been called out before. And he said, "You know what, man? You're too emotional." And I had never been told that before. So first time hearing that, I never even thought that was even a bad thing, to be honest with you, because I always kind of thought, being passionate, leading with emotion, and just wearing your heart on your sleeve was like a good thing. I didn't think it was necessarily a bad thing. And I don't even think it's a bad thing, because if that's who you are, that's who you are, but you have to learn how to control it. You have to become the master of that, right? Otherwise, it can really put you in some tricky situations that you may or may not get out of. And you make things a lot more difficult on yourself. And you're really not achieving real success because you're holding yourself back in a lot of different ways. And for me, when he told me that, it really shook me. Not to where I was like, man, fuck you, man. Like, how dare you say that? Nah, it was more in a sense of like, man, ain't nobody ever like called me out for that before. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never even thought of that. And after hearing that, I had to do a lot of self-evaluation, because if I wanted this thing to work, if I wanted to find success in what we were doing, I had to look within myself to become a better leader, to become a better person. And that was a major hurdle for me. And ultimately, man, what ended up happening, we went through it for a long time. We became really close in a lot of ways because, I saw how he worked. I saw how he managed himself in situations, how he didn't let himself ever lose control. No matter what was going on, if someone was yelling at him, if he had to have tough conversations, if we had people call out sick and all sorts of stuff was going on, he never lost his cool. He always maintained that poise of character and that level-headedness and that calmness that a true stoic leader would have. And I saw that on full display so many times. And I'm very thankful that I did see that, because that showed me what leadership is. And it showed me that there's like another level that I need to get to in order to get better, in order to get closer to my dreams, in order to find success, and in order to just be a better person in general and have a better experience of life. So I learned a lot from those instances working with him, and he's still my friend to this day, my brother. He's out in Seattle. I'm out here in Hawaii, but we do maintain a close connection. Try to hit each other up every once in a while. It's been a while since we talked. So RM, if you out here, you listening to this, man, I miss you, man. Love you, my brother. And thank you for everything that you've helped me with, man. And I'm always only one phone call away from you, my brother. So yeah, man, I'm very, very grateful. Now that leads me back to what I want to talk about in this episode in general, like why I practice self-mastery, why I practice personal development, why I challenge myself to get better every single day, in every moment, in every aspect of my life. I do believe that in order to, we are all powerful. Every single one of us is more powerful than we even know it. The mind that we have between these two ears is super powerful. It's a supercomputer that we as humans can't even replicate, can't even get close to replicating. The power of your mind, the power of the brain that's inside your head is literally limitless. And if you find ways to better control it, to better understand it, it's going to help you create the life that you envision for yourself. You can change your whole life if you change your mind. You really can. I firmly believe that. And once I realized that, I got to work in terms of just trying to understand my mind better, doing my best to eat better foods to nourish my mind, not only my mind, but my body and everything like that. And also staying away from certain things that are killing my brain and killing my body, aka alcohol, drugs, all these things that were just turning my mind to mush. And I see the value and the potential within myself, and in order to bring that to light, you have to come to a realization at some point that you should no longer be holding yourself back. And I was holding myself back. It was no one else. I was making those choices for myself, and looking back at it, even though they were wrong choices, I had to ultimately go through that to arrive at this point, to reach this level of clarity and awareness, to where I realized that in order for me to get to where I want to get to, or create the life that I want to create for myself, I'm going to have to make changes in myself. And those were some of the massive changes I made in my life. I've subtracted that, tried to add good things into my life, build better habits. And look, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I make mistakes. I fall down rabbit holes. I still have certain vices that I'm trying to get a better hold of. And still really, I'm always going to be working on getting a better grip on my emotions. And I'm going to have moments where I revert back. But in those moments, I do my best not to just cast it aside when it happens and be like, oh, that was nothing. Like, all right, just keep moving. What I do now is if I have a moment where I'm not really kind of presenting myself in my best light, I do my best to look at that situation, break it down, and try to understand and find out if there's something deeper there that I can kind of look at that I might need to fix. There's this quote that I love. I'm not quite sure who said the quote, but it goes something along the lines of like, be thankful for your triggers because they point to where you're not free. And that's so cool to me because when something happens that triggers you, a lot of times what'll happen is you'll be like, oh shit, like where did that come from, right? Or some of us, like myself in the past, I would just kind of like brush it off my shoulder and just keep moving. But now when something triggers me, I try my best to just look at it from a non-biased perspective and just really try to dig a little deeper into why it actually happened, what's going on, underneath everything that may be deeper, as to why something so small could trigger such a huge emotional reaction. And when you do that, you'll find all sorts of answers. You'll find out more about yourself. You'll find out what you need to work on. And then if you really care enough, you'll get to work. You'll start working on that. And I do care. I care about everyone around me. I care about the world. And I care about myself. So I'm doing my very best to just work on myself every single day, and learn, grow. That's something I not only preach on this podcast constantly, but I practice on the daily. The way I kind of got here was ultimately I just realized, man, dude, like if you want your goals to come to life, dude, you got to stop messing around. You got to stop bullshitting. You got to be real with yourself, and you're going to have to make certain sacrifices. And the sacrifices I'm making is I'm basically trading in who I once was to become the better version of myself. And I'm just challenging myself constantly. I try to make good decisions, do my very best to pay attention to myself, take care of myself, build better habits. Some of the habits I talked about in several different episodes throughout this whole podcast journey is that, I try to read every day. I meditate every single day. I do my very best to get some sort of movement, like exercise in. I try to eat better, try to sleep better. What else do I do? I definitely work on visualization, affirmations. I write in my journal, try to be productive on what it is I believe in. I work on the things that I want to work on. And look, life happens, and I'm not always going to check off every single box on the things that I want to do and I set out to do for myself each day. But with that said, we all got the same 24 hours in a day, and I don't want to make no more excuses for myself. I know where I can tighten up on some things in order to kind of make sure that I'm working on the things that matter to me most. And that takes you being brutally honest with yourself. And that's a huge part of self-mastery. To be quite honest with you, you need to look at yourself in the mirror, assess who you are, figure out who you are and where you're currently at in your life, and also figure out where you want to be in your life, what you want to do with your life, where do you want to go, what do you want to do, what do you want to see for your life. And ultimately, for that to become a reality, you got to be brutally honest with yourself in terms of like, okay, what's in my control for me to be able to bring that to life. And I've done that, and I continue to do that. Look at myself in the mirror, try to be real with myself, exercise, and practice building a greater self-awareness within myself, and just sticking to the script every day, doing my best to maintain these habits, and that's all you really can do. And that's the true path of self-mastery. And every level you get to, there's another level to get to, for sure. So it's gonna be a continuous, constant pursuit of just you getting better. And it's always gonna feel like it's fleeting. But I think one of the major keys to everything is to enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, be present in as many moments as possible, even the less desirable moments where you kind of feel like, man, this sucks, I want to get to the next thing already, right? You even in those moments, because the truth of the matter is, you're never going to be as young as you are right now. You're never going to have this moment again. So you got to just savor everything as much as you can. I know that sounds easy for me to say and very simple, but it's not. It's not as easy as it sounds. Real talk. It's challenging, it's tough, and I struggle with it a lot. But in those moments, what I try to do is I try to catch myself. I try to censor myself to where I can start to just realize, like, yo, dude, this is it. This is life right here, dude. You know what I mean? Like, you're not always going to have your way. You got to find contentment in everything, no matter how hard you work. Like, you still might not get the same results that you want, but that shouldn't mean that you just quit and stop pursuing what you believe in. Like, you got to keep going, and ultimately you'll start to see fruits of your labor at some point. You got to practice patience. That's a huge part of self-mastery. You got to practice not only patience with yourself, but with other people, and with how things develop. So I say all that to say, self-mastery is the most important work you'll ever do. And I think that it is the key to unlocking everything you want in life. It really is. I truly believe that. And once you figure that out for yourself, you learn so much, and then you start to realize how many different resources are readily available to you to help you get closer and inch closer and closer to your goals, to your dreams, to your visions, to whatever it is that you want for your life to come true. And for me, some of the biggest resources I turn to quite a bit is books. I try to find people with very relatable life experience, or just a great body of work in terms of what they've accomplished in their life already. And a lot of people are sharing blueprints, you know what I'm saying, in terms of dropping gems and sharing information, and helping you point yourself in a better direction to where you can find more answers and to help yourself. So books are a really great place to kind of get started if you choose to pursue a path of self-mastery and personal development. Obviously, podcasts are a big thing for me too. I love podcasts. There's so many different people that I follow, that I listen to, that have helped me in so many different ways, helped me get on the path that I'm at right now. But the biggest thing for me is sitting with myself through meditation, or just being out in nature, freeing myself from distraction, and just kind of being with myself, with my thoughts, learning how to appreciate the moment, giving myself the time that I need, the space that I need, pouring more energy into my cup to help me be better, to help me be a better person. And I come up with so much on my own. That's when I can start journaling, and I come up with these ideas, and I start to have these moments of clarity where I know more and more what I want to do, what I need to do in order to get what I want out of life. And it just becomes clearer and clearer when you give yourself enough time to kind of assess whatever situation you're in. And I do it quite often. No matter how hectic life gets, I try to find time for myself, and every day, away from my phone. Sometimes I just go out into the balcony, or just sit out there or stand out there and just get some fresh air, walk to the park. I'm at the beach quite a bit out here in Hawaii. I love the ocean. Something about it for me that just brings me a lot of peace and helps me see things a whole lot clearer. And I just feel like I have this like crazy connection with animals, to be honest with you. Like I feel like animals feel peace in my presence, because it's happened on so many occasions that I can't even really count. But I see all sorts of, whether they're animals in the ocean, from turtles, I've seen dolphins, I've seen obviously fish. Back in the bay, I've seen seals just come up to me when I'm just on the pier or something like that. Not necessarily come up to me, but they're like right there while I'm like just looking out into the ocean. Birds just constantly, they don't fly away when I walk by them or anything like that. They don't feel threatened, because I try to keep myself at this level of peace. That's part of self-mastery, is just being aware of your energy and just trying to control that in the best way that you can. And you can only do that through developing a real sense of awareness. I try not to make my energy like a violent energy or angry energy, a negative energy. I really focus on paying attention to where my energy is at and doing my best to bring it to a level that is peaceful, that's positive, that feels like love. And that feels welcoming, non-threatening, because that's not how I want to be. That's part of me just wanting to be a better person, and wanting to attract all the best things in my life. You know what I'm saying? And who's going to be attracted to an asshole, all day? That's somebody that's just a jerk all day. That's just somebody that's not pleasant to be around. You know what I'm saying? I know that there are people that are attracted to that type of stuff. It's just, like, to each their own. Me, like, I want to attract all the best in my life, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I practice self-mastery, because I know that you attract what you are. You attract the energy that you have within you. And if you're, somebody that's just a messed up person, you're going to attract all sorts of messed up stuff into your life, and you're going to wonder why, or you may or may not wonder why, but that's going to be the reason why you attract all that crazy ass shit in your life. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I practice self-mastery, is because I just know that by doing that, I'm going to attract all the best things in my life. And I've seen evidence of that. I continue to see evidence of that. And the more I get better at it, the more I practice it, the more evidence I'm going to see. Things that I envision for my life are going to become real. They're going to come to fruition. And again, just seeing that evidence provides me with enough to just keep going, and to kind of understand, like, if I continue to move in this direction, it's only a matter of time until everything kind of catches up to me. The results will speak for itself. Like, keep working hard, making good decisions, making good choices, putting yourself in a better position mentally and everything like that. And what's going to happen for you is going to be even better than you can envision. And that's what I really try to focus on. It's something that I don't take lightly. I understand the importance of, and honestly, it's fun, because when you continue to unlock levels in your own way, and you start to feel the progress, and again, see the results and the evidence, you can't argue it, and you get almost addicted to it, addicted to getting better. And if there's something to get addicted to, I think that's something that would be perfectly fine to get addicted to, is that addiction towards becoming your best self, the addiction towards getting better every day, improving, and building character every single day. So yeah, that's why I practice self-mastery. That's how I've kind of come to this place, and I've been at it for a few years now, and I know that where I'm at, even if it's already as good as it is right now, it can only get better. Of course, I'm going to go through situations that are going to challenge me, that are going to test me to see if I meet the criteria to advance to the next level. And I'm just going to keep doing my best to pass the test and keep unlocking levels, man. And, I'm bringing y'all along with me on the journey. And, man, do I appreciate y'all being here. Just doing it for as long as I've been doing it now is pretty wild to me. Started this thing off in like 2020, and to be here in May of 2023, still doing it is pretty crazy. But I'm having a fun time doing this. I feel like this is a forever thing, that I'm not going to ever stop doing this, because I feel like one of my biggest gifts is to use my art of communication. And this is one of the many ways I can do that, to impact other people, to inspire other people, to motivate other people. And if I could do that, then I feel like I'm doing what I'm designed to do. And I love it. This isn't even work to me. So I just have to, I know what I need to do for myself to continue to stay consistent and to put out episodes every week. And eventually I want to get to a point where I'm doing it every other day, or even every day. You know what I'm saying? Just sharing my thoughts with y'all, sharing what I feel can help, interviewing real cool people, connecting with and building networks with other people that are in alignment with what I believe, and just are on the path to meeting that highest version of themselves too. And if you're listening to this, you definitely are somebody that's on that path, and I appreciate you being here. So thank you for rocking with the boy. And with that said, that's what I got for y'all for today's episode. And man, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you ain't already following me on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and all that good stuff, please be sure to tap these, not necessarily tap these things, but follow us on these handles right here, at CL_the source, at Unlocking Levels, at Free Matrix Production, and on YouTube at CL the Source. And it's a privilege being here. So thank you if you made it this far into the episode and you continue to rock with your boy. Thank you. I got nothing but love and respect for you, man. So until next time, y'all, peace and love.